So, you're right.
Yes.
So sorry.
You're welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. So, we were talking about identification.
Yes. And ways of actually remaining identified with awareness or consciousness itself, rather than slipping back into this misidentification, which is that's the reason why there's so much strife in the world. Even people who've seen this, they continually slip back because it's so easy. You know, we've had so long misidentified.
Yeah.
So with regard to the continual re-identification with awareness, the continual re-investigation is very important. I was just saying to you about the way Muslims pray 5 times a day. Now, if we could take that, but instead of doing that, re-investigate 5 times a day and fully rediscover that we are pure awareness, our minds would gradually come around to understanding this and accepting it, because the mind will accept it in the first place, because it understands the investigation, it can see the logical analysis, the logical conclusions, and it will accept it, but not for long, because it wants to regain control as the master, and it can't. So it will accept it, but then it will always try to regain control. So the more we almost actually have to force the mind to accept it and to really see it. And once the mind really sees it, actually, the mind actually quietens down and becomes much more amenable, much happier, because it's no longer trying to assert its control. It's no longer, it stops worrying as much. I mean, and this is another thing. We were talking about the fact that different religions say you have to foster different qualities to become more spiritual. And one of them, the classic one, is got a quiet mind. A lot of meditation practices are designed to make the mind quiet. And some of them are even designed to force the mind to be quiet. So you reach this state of a still mind. But a still mind is actually the outcome of awakening rather than the precursor to it.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's an important distinction.
It is very important.
Because it's like the horse and the cart. Which one comes first?
It is. So to say that you have to still your mind to see the absolute, to become awake, is putting the cart before the horse. Once you realise that you are just pure consciousness and a manifestation and expression of that, then the background programs that run in the mind all the time while you're misidentified, such as, and they're all programs to do with the small self, and they're continually running. Once they stop running, completely, and that automatically the mind becomes much stiller. You stop evaluating yourself, you stop judging other people, you stop thinking about the future, you stop worrying about the past. All of these programs are all to do with yourself as a separate object in the universe, and they're always running those programs. Most people. And once you realise that you're not a separate object and that you are just part of the universe, of the universal consciousness, then all of those programs, for a small amount of time, well, as long as you stay identified with that, they stop running completely, and the mind becomes very quiet. The thing about the mind is, the mind is like, it's like your onboard computer, which is to be used for solving problems and helping you navigate the world, helping you live. And it is a wonderful facility for doing that. It's a wonderful thing. But while you're running all these background programs in the mind, that degrades it a lot. If you have a computer and you're running 100 programs on it at once, then each program will run much more slowly than if you're only running one program.
Absolutely.
So if the mind is quiet and still, and when a problem then arises, it can provide its full focus on that problem. It has no distractions. And the problem, it will solve the problem much more easily than if it's trying to solve it amidst this clamour of, I wish this hadn't happened, and what about so-and-so? What's going to happen tomorrow? What happened yesterday? Oh,
sounds like how the average person's mind works.
That's right. So and that's all caused, all of those programs are actually caused by misidentification. So the quiet mind is the outcome of awakening. It's not the precursor to it. If you sit in meditation, try to quiet your mind by force, the mind will actually just get much more noisy, much more. It will just, the clamour will increase. It will just increase and increase. It's not possible. You cannot forcibly still your mind.
No, I agree with that. I have tried many a time.
Many people have tried.
It does
Many
not
a time.
work.
Yeah.
It does not work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it has been that particular practice of forcing the mind to stay quiet has been part of the reason most people do not meditate, because it's too hard and they get nowhere. You know, and no matter how hard you try, it doesn't seem to just leave you alone. You just find yourself following a thought down the rabbit hole, and you know, and there goes your peace.
Yes,
and then 5 minutes has passed, and you've been lost in this story you're telling yourself. And yes,
yeah, I mean, that's pretty classic. And
so, what would you do instead, rather than try and quieten the mind?
Yeah, okay.
What should people do instead?
Well, the first thing they should do is carry out the investigation and reach the point where they can fully see. The mind can fully not only see but understand completely that awareness is that the consciousness is that which is behind the mind and which sees the mind and that which they are. Now, once you've reached that point, then I do a process which I call awareness of awareness. Okay, and it's a very simple process. If you just sit quietly with your, or lie, in my case, lie quietly, with your eyes closed, and you notice. And when I say notice, the word notice means become aware of. You notice that there is awareness of every thought and sensation that's occurring. Right? Now, it's pretty obvious that there's awareness of the thoughts and sensations, otherwise you wouldn't be aware of them, right? That's obviously the case. That's always the case.
Yes.
All you're doing is noticing that there is awareness of them. Right? Now, this noticing that there is awareness of thoughts and sensations means that you are becoming aware of awareness. You're aware of awareness. Okay.
And it automatically, as you spoke then, I tried to do it, and automatically you are a step back from everything, because you need to be a step back from everything in order to notice it.
That's right. That's right. So
that's brilliant, folks.
If you try this process, and just know, you don't even have to take each thought and sensation that it comes up and just say, oh, I'm aware of that, I'm aware of that. You just have to notice that there is awareness of them as they come and they go. And of course, the problem here is one tends to follow the thoughts and sensations as they come and they go. So you did, as you say, you need to take a step back and just notice that there's awareness of them. And as soon as you find yourself following one, then immediately note that you're aware of that thought. And that thought then loses its power over you because you've taken that step back. Become aware. And
it's basically, ironically, the only instance where separation is warranted.
We
want to be separate.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. And it's interesting this, because if you do this process, after a while, you'll notice that the thoughts, especially the thoughts, sensations come and go, just as they will. But it's mainly the thoughts that bother people, actually. You'll notice that as you note that you're aware of the thoughts slowly quieten down because they're not being followed. And the mind just gets quieter by itself. So not only do you get awareness of awareness, but you also end up with the much quieter mind just by itself. And this is another example of awakening, which is being aware of awareness, actually producing a quiet mind. So you can actually see it happening as you do it.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's quite a good practice. That's an easy one to do.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So
thank you. I think we have learned a lot today. I don't know about you, but I have. I certainly have.
Well, and good luck with it. All I can say is that you are all pure consciousness. You're just manifestations of that. That's all you are, and all you need to do is to become aware of that. And stay aware of that, and can continually reinvestigate when anything occurs that takes you away from that. And it's simple.
Wow. So, this is a fascinating topic. I think we will need a round 2. I think there is so much to talk about and delve into about this topic.
There is.
And, we would love to see you again.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And you can, any time, I've written 15 books on the subject now, you can find questions in there, and any topic you'd like to discuss, we will discuss.
Fantastic, and we'll be putting links to all of those books and where to get them, and go and grab yourself whichever copy you would like to read and start your journey to a heightened state of consciousness. Yes,
one point I'd like to make about that is the books are written in such a way that each one is a self-explanatory guide and pointers to awakening, and not requiring the reader to have read any of the others. Each one is written in a format so they're standalone. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. You don't have to get. How many books have you?
15.
15. The mind.
And
right.
I wouldn't recommend any one over any of the others. Pick any one you like and go from there.
Says the father. He just doesn't want to say on camera. No, okay. Well, thank you, Colin. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
It was a joy and a pleasure.
Thank you. And thanks for watching, and see you on the other side.
And I shall look forward to seeing it when it's finished.
Yay! We are done!